The ultimatum. They came in silence. No thunder, no warning. Just shadows cast by warships large enough to blot out the sun. The world froze as the sky turned to steel. From New York to Nairobi, from Tokyo to Tehran, every screen flickered, then unified. The figure that appeared wasn't monstrous. That made it wise. Slender, regal, and eerily composed, the Zarketh emissary stared into Earth's eyes. Its voice was smooth, synthetic, yet laced with threat. We are the Empire. You are now under our protection. Obedience is required. Resistance will be eliminated. The message repeated in every language. No demands. No negotiation. Just submission. Within an hour, they shut down global satellites. Communications went black. Power grids followed. Cities once ablaze with light fell into silence. Then the collection began. In New York, UN Special Forces officer Elena Briggs sprinted through the smoke-filled streets of Manhattan, gun drawn, breathing through the ash. Screams echoed behind her. Civilians dragged from apartments by the Empire's enforcers. Humanoid machines wrapped in shimmering armor, faceless and unflinching. She ducked behind a shattered bus, heart pounding. Across the street, she saw her squad leader, Captain Reyes, surrounded. Before she could move, a flash of blue light struck him. He dropped, then stood again, eyes blank, expression gone. Obedience chip. Elena cursed and slipped away. That night, huddled in an abandoned subway tunnel with 3 survivors, Samuel, a wiry hacker with trembling hands, Louis, an old engineer with burns on his face, and a nurse named MIA who refused to speak, Elena took charge. "They're not here to negotiate," she said. "They want to rewrite us. One mind at a time." Samir shook his head. "Why Earth? We don't even have interstellar tech." Louis growled. "Because we're unpredictable. We still argue about where to put pineapples on pizza. That scares them more than fleets ever will." Over the next days, they watched the world unravel. Beijing gone. Sao Paulo under quarantine. Johannesburg glassed from orbit after a civilian protest. The Empire called it pacification. Obedience wasn't a choice. It was forced down throats with neural implants and fear. But something cracked in Elena during those long nights. Maybe it was seeing children dragged into vans. Maybe it was watching the stars above flicker under foreign control. Or maybe it was just the fact that Earth, in all its chaos and mess, deserved to choose its own damn fate. "We're going to fight," she said one morning, as smoke rose on the horizon. "I don't care if it's with sticks and rocks. We fight." Louis nodded. "War it is." MIA finally spoke. "Then let's make them bleed." From that moment on, they weren't just survivors. They were the start of something worse for the Empire. Earth wasn't going to obey. Fires in the dark. The first explosion was small, just enough to knock out the power grid to a Zarketh patrol station in rural Virginia. It didn't kill anyone. That wasn't the point. It was a message. From that darkened wreck, resistance spread like wildfire. Elena Briggs led her ragtag team through forested hills under the cover of night. They wore no uniforms, carried no insignias, and used weapons cobbled from scrapyards and fallen drones. Each step they took left behind another ghost in the machine. A dead camera, a hacked sensor, a misdirected patrol. The Empire called them anomalous threats. Earth just called them fighters. "Power lines here are still exposed," Louis whispered, pointing to a transmission pole. "We rigged the current with a feedback loop. They'll fry their own scanners next time they try to triangulate." Elena nodded. "Do it." Samir looped the surveillance drones. No visual, no audio. Samir tapped on his scavenged datapad, expression tight with focus. "We've got 6 minutes until the sweep hits this grid. Then we run." They didn't need victories. They needed chaos. Every broken beacon, every hijacked feed, every denied target forced the Empire to rethink its grip. The Zarketh weren't used to improvisation. They were conquerors of systems that surrendered. Rulers of species bred for compliance. Earth, with its wild terrain, fractured politics, and stubborn people, didn't fit the pattern. In cities across the globe, other cells began to form. Elena's broadcast, raw footage of chipped humans rebelling and winning, had slipped through the Empire's sensors. It wasn't high-tech, but it was viral. In Brazil, fishermen used nets lined with metal to snare scout drones. In India, slum dwellers rewired public speakers to pump feedback across obedience control frequencies. In Nigeria, school teachers taught children how to hide from heat sensors and where to stab armored legs with sharpened steel. It wasn't just survival anymore. It was war. But the Empire struck back hard. In Chicago, entire blocks were vaporized. In Paris, thousands were chipped in a single day through food laced with microtransmitters. Elena watched it all from a bunker beneath a crumbling gas station in West Virginia. Too many losses, Samir muttered. They are adapting. No, Elena said. They are reacting. That means we still control the tempo. MIA looked up from a map spread across the concrete floor. There's a Zarketh relay tower near DC. If we hit it, we can cut their communication for 10 whole sectors. Then we hit it, Elena said. Samir blinked. That tower's guarded by 20 mechs and a gravity shield. Then we hit it harder. There was a silence, not of fear, but of grim determination. The Empire wanted obedience. What it got was Earth, scarred, angry, and awake. Blood and iron. The stolen Zarketh frigate groaned in protest as it entered Earth's lower atmosphere, streaking across the clouds like a burning arrow. The hull still bore Imperial markings, but its guts had been gutted and rewired by human hands. What was once a weapon of domination had become a vessel of vengeance. Inside, Elena strapped into the command seat, her eyes locked on the tactical display. Samir sat beside her, sweat dripping from his brow as he tapped furiously on the alien console. We've got 30 seconds before the defense grid spots us, he warned. Plenty of time, Elena replied, voice cool. Below them, the Zarketh relay tower rose from the rubble of old Washington, D.C., a gleaming monolith of black alloy pulsing with violet energy. It was the nerve center for the Empire's local communication network. Cut it down, and Earth would breathe again. As they descended, Lewis's voice crackled over comms from the cargo bay. EMP charges are primed. We drop, we hit hard, we dissipate. Elena gave a grim nod. Let's make it loud. The frigate plunged through the clouds. Turrets below lit up, firing bolts of plasma. The ship shook violently, hull groaning as Samir maneuvered between bursts. Now! Elena shouted. The rebay doors blew open, and a makeshift drop pod, nothing more than a hollowed-out Zarketh cargo container, plummeted toward the tower, carrying Lewis, Maya, and a 6-man strike team inside. The impact was thunderous. The base trembled. Smoke and fire bloomed from its base. Inside the tower, chaos erupted. Zarketh officers barked orders in their hissing tongue. Mechs activated, scanning for intruders. But the humans were already inside, fast, brutal, and merciless. Lewis slammed the EMP core into the reactor room's interface. Let's see how your gods like going mute, he muttered. Then he pulled the trigger. Above, the relay tower blinked, then shuddered, then went dead. Across a dozen occupied regions, obedience chip signals failed. Civilians collapsed, waking moments later with terror and clarity in their eyes. Enslaved minds snapped free, and they ran. Some ran toward the resistance. Others ran at their captors with fists, blades, and fury. On the frigate, Samir whooped. We did it. The whole network's down. Elena didn't smile. Then we don't stop. News spread faster than the Empire could contain it. Footage of the tower's fall leaked through rebel networks, jumping star systems, reaching colonies the Zarketh thought secure. And far beyond Earth's orbit, on worlds with names humanity couldn't yet pronounce, beings once silenced began to whisper again. Whispers turned to chants. The chant turned into a promise. If Earth can fight, so can we. Back in the war-scorched ruins of DC, Elena stood atop the fractured relay tower, looking up through the smoke at the stars. She didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but she knew this. The Empire had bled today, and it would bleed again. The death of obedience. The Emperor himself had arrived. His dreadnought, Divine Verdict, eclipsed the moon, an obsidian titan bristling with weapons and lined with golden alien scripture. It broadcast a single command across the globe. Submit. Or be erased. No reply came. Only silence. Then, defiance. From the moment the Emperor's ship breached orbit, the world ignited. Resistance cells coordinated strikes in every time zone. Hidden bases launched jury-rigged missiles. Civilian mobs swarmed Zarketh garrisons armed with nothing but stolen rifles and raw hatred. Earth had nothing left to lose, and that made humanity unstoppable. In orbit, the Divine Verdict turned its cannons toward North America. Plasma built in its core. Inside the human-controlled frigate Iron Howl, Elena Briggs stared at the enemy through a cracked viewport. "That cannon hits Earth. Millions die," she said. Samir looked pale. "We outgunned. That thing could take on a fleet." "We're not giving it a fleet," Elena said grimly. "We're giving it one human." She loaded the last gravity warhead, assembled from 3 Zarketh cores, fused with human explosives, and locked it into the assault pod. Lewis had designed it. He'd called it Plan Hail Mary. Now it was time. "I'll pilot," she said. "No," Samir protested. "You won't come back." "That's the point," she replied. The pod launched. Elena hurtled toward the Divine Verdict, flying low, skimming debris. Drones swarmed to intercept. She weaved, fired, tore through them. Alarms screamed. Hulls clashed. Then, impact. She crashed through the dreadnought's lower decks and crawled from the wreckage, blooded but alive. Blaster in hand, she stormed forward. Zarketh's soldiers poured in. She fought through them with brutal precision. Each shot was a promise. 1 floor, 2, 3. Then she reached the throne chamber. There he stood, Emperor Varnok the Infinite, draped in living robes of shimmering void metal, his expression a mask of disdain. "You are a roach beneath eternity," he sneered. "No," Elena said, raising the detonator. "I'm the boot you didn't see coming." She pressed the trigger. A pulse of distorted gravity exploded through the dreadnought's core. Light bent. Metal screamed. The Emperor's throne shattered as reality folded inward. Above Earth, the Divine Verdict burst apart like a dying star. On the surface, humanity watched as fire bloomed across the heavens. The Emperor was dead. His fleet fractured. Command collapsed. Across the stars, Zarketh forces turned on each other, or fled. In the weeks that followed, word of Earth's rebellion became legend. Oppressed species rose by the millions. The Empire crumbled, not with a bang, but with billions of voices refusing obedience. Elena's body was never found, but her name echoed across systems like prophecy. In the ruins of the old world, MIA stood beside a monument carved into steel. She gave them all. We gave them freedom.